Welcome to the Flash Performance Tiny Garage, where today we're talking about getting it up and size issues. Ooh, sounds like a bad conversation. Today we're talking about getting it up, and I'm talking about a lift. So if you're a DIYer like me, having a lift makes life so much easier. There are challenges that come with a lift, like where to put it, and how to make it fit, and what do I need to consider when choosing a lift. Well, I'm going to go through some of those options today and show you what I've chosen as far as a lift. And actually, it's right there. To start off, let's talk about my situation. I have a 20 by 20 garage and I have 9-foot ceilings. So that really restricted me when it came to the type of lift or the option of lift that I had. There are a lot of options in the market today when it comes to lifts. You can get an overhead lift, which is basically 2 posts with a bar going across the top. You can get a base plate lift, which is 2 posts with a bar going across the bottom where the cables go. The great part about the overhead lift is there's no obstruction in the middle as far as the runway goes. You can easily roll around transmission jacks, be on a creeper or a stool underneath the car, and walk around with no obstructions. However, on a base plate lift, you have the cables going across the floor. That means that there's always something in the way. You're always going to be driving over it. It's going to be in the way when you're trying to run a transmission jack or anything else. Both lifts are a fantastic option depending on your situation. I have a smaller garage, and with my ceiling height, I can't run an overhead lift because my ceiling height doesn't permit it. I would have to actually go between the joists, and that just doesn't make a lot of sense. Also, if I had a lift both in my garage, it's always there. You can't move it. So to be able to open doors, to be able to do a heater core or dash work, I just wouldn't have the room to be able to get the doors open because my garage isn't deep enough to be able to roll the car back to do that. And I definitely didn't want to go with a base plate lift because I do a lot of transmission work where I pull out or replace engines, and the base plate is always in the way. With those obstacles in mind, I chose to go with this. This is the MaxJax. This is from Danmar Products. I've had this lift for almost 2 years, and it is the perfect lift for my situation. It gives me the ability to raise a vehicle up 4 feet so I get it at chest height to be able to do brake work, and I can get underneath it to be able to do transmission work with no obstacles on the ground. Now granted, I'm working underneath the car. I still have to sit on a stool to be able to do that. But here's the key, I'm not laying on my back. And with the height restriction of my garage, I wasn't able to do really any other option. So I'm going to show you why I chose the MaxJax and why the MaxJax might be right for you. In the MaxJax kit, you get 2 columns. I already have one installed, so that's why you don't see the other one. You get arms for both columns that are detachable and easy to put on and off, and you get a pump assembly. The pump assembly is 120 volt, so you can run it off an extension cord. It's also on wheels, which makes it portable. The columns are on wheels, so you can wheel them into place and they bolt to the floor. When we're talking about bolting them to the floor, the anchors stay in the floor and they don't have protruding studs coming out, so you don't have to worry about running over the top of them. I'll show you how this installs, that way you can see what I'm talking about. the MaxJax. It's the perfect tool for me, and maybe it's the right tool for you. For my tiny garage, it works out fantastic. If I need to, I can take that post, I can move it off to the side, I can get a car in here to open up the doors, work underneath it. If I just need to do under the hood work and I have no reason to lift it up, I can take that post out and get it out of the way. One of the other things I found really handy with this MaxJax is you can operate one column at a time. I was doing a rear differential work and I wanted to get it up high enough that I could work on it. I was able to access just one column, lift it all the way up to the 4-foot height level so I could work on it, grind on it, and not have to worry about tripping over the other lift while I was in process. They have adapters for these for motorcycles and four-wheelers. You can use one column or both columns at the same time depending on your application. When you set these in, you drill the anchor holes. That means that you have the ability to set the width or how narrow the columns are going to be depending on your application. If you're just working on Jeeps or Porsches, you're going to have them a lot closer together. If you're working on your Corvette, it's a little bit wider body so you can have them farther apart. It's totally up to you. And who says you only have to have one set of anchor bolts? Get a second set of anchor bolts and have multiple positions for it. I got my MaxJax from Garage Equipment Supply. Make sure you check them out. GESUSA.com. The link will be in the description below, so make sure you check them out. I'm Chad from Flash Performance. This is the Tiny Garage, and this is the MaxJax.